Hey guys, King of Charmanders here. So, we have the Therian Forms for Landorus, and the other two legendary Pokemon are coming out, well, the Weather Trio, however you want to call them, are coming out to Pokemon Go. So, I had a request to make a video for the three of them, starting with the most popular one, which is Landorus. Landorus is the one arguably everyone's going to go after because this one's the one that's good for PvP. And it looks pretty dang cool. It looks like a lion. For those of you that don't know, in the main series game, Therian Form Landorus absolutely destroys everything. It has insanely powerful stats, very good attack, and it was like used in Smogon and in the competitive world, a lot. Anyways, there's not much of a difference between the two. Landorus Therian Form has more attack. So if you look over here, here's the attack stat. You go back to Landorus right here, here's Landorus, the regular form, the Incarnate forms, if you see here, if you go down, 261, 182, and then here you have 189, 179. So he gives up like 6 points of defense for like 20 points of attack. So 6 points of defense isn't too much. Besides, most of the time you'll be using Therian Landorus in Master League. Probably won't use it in Ultra League. Don't use it in Ultra League. It's not that great. And with the existence of Articuno in Ultra League, it's going to freeze you to death because it's ground and flying. Anyways, Therian Form Landorus, as I mentioned before, is very weak to ice types. As you see here, very weak to ice, and it not having a really bulky defense is going to really hurt if you get hit by, like, even an ice shard or something of that sort. So it's weak to ice and also to water types. However, you do have a great resistance against ground, bug, electric, fighting, and poison. So it has a really versatile resistance pool. The only thing is, if we're going to assume this is Open Master League, that, okay, Groudon, don't know the typing, Melmetal Thundershocks, which don't really do that hard, Superpower, and then I don't know who uses Poison in Open Master League. But anyways, yes, it has a lot of resistances, but they're not really that relevant, you know what I mean? You see Kyogre's a lot, and you could possibly see Mamoswine, so the Ice Water is definitely a lot more threatening than what you would resist. As you see, Therian Landorus is really good because it has Mud Shot, so with Mud Shot you generate energy quickly. Earth Power hits really hard for a ground move, costs less energy than Earthquake 2. It has Outrage, it also has Focus Blast and Rock Slide. As you see, very, very versatile. So because of that, Landorus is, like, if you're looking to see, like, what you want, like, Groudon theoretically is better. However, if you like Landorus, Landorus can mesh well in a lot of teams because it has that surprise factor of hitting with the Focus Blast, has Outrage, or you can run something like Focus Blast Earth Power, something like that, if you want to use it as a closer. Alright, so here we have Landorus Incarnate. The Therian forms actually aren't in PvPoke rankings yet, but they're not going to shoot up too much from their Incarnate cousins. The reason being is because they're not that, oppressive. Like, adding more attack to a Pokemon doesn't necessarily make it better, unless it, like, change. I would say, like, a big stat change or a big moveset change. 20 points isn't a lot. You'll have more killing power, but you'll see in the Matrix just how it's better, but, like, it's not going to be as oppressive as, per se, Groudon. So as you see, your Incarnate ranks as a very powerful closer. Good lead, good switch. There are better ones out there, but it's best used in the closer because it's basically able to destroy the Steel-type archetype, as well as you just line a bunch of rocks on Togekiss. As you see here, as a lead, it's number 27, and as a switch, it is number 16. Wouldn't use it as a switch unless you're trying to throw it into something you're good against. As I mentioned, it's really great because it breaks that Togekiss Steel Core that everyone uses. The only issue with Landorus is that it does lose pretty hard against Giratina and, of course, Kyogre. Kyogre is your worst nightmare, because water types really do heavy damage against Landorus, and guess what? Kyogre is a really overpowered water type. Closer it ranks the best though. As you see here, number 4 as the closer takes out, as I mentioned before, Dialga Togekiss. It even beats out Groudon because of its insane Earth Power pressure. And it can take out all the flyers. So once you don't have any shields, then this thing can just go to town. But the Therian form will probably shoot it up, like, I would say 2 ranks. So it would be probably next to Groudon. Who's the number 1? Number 1 is Shadow Mamoswine. Garchomp is a number 2. So it'll probably shoot Landorus up to, like, number 2. It'll take Garchomp's place as far as the closer goes. Just because of the extra power it has with Earth Power, we'll probably give it enough attack power to nuke a lot of things. Alright, here's the PvPoke.com matrix. My favorite part of the video because this gets to tell me a bunch of whole crazy stuff. Anyways, if you would like, please consider donating to PvPoke.com. So here with Landorus, I put Mudshot. So as you see here, I have Mudshot with 4 different forms. They're all maxed out, and yes, the Therian data is in PvPoke.com. So we can accurately tell what beats what and what kills what. So as you see with the Therian form, what you have here is I'm put Rock Slide Earth Power together, Rock Slide Outrage, Rock Slide Focus Blast, and then I put Earth Power Focus Blast. You want a Rock Slide because you need a bait move. Rock Slide also gives you that chance against Togekiss, which you'll lose heavily against. Now, the thing is, if you don't have Earth Power, you're going to lose against Steel types unless you have Outrage, where you can actually beat Dialga, but then Melmetal gives you a hard time. Anyways, I put all 4 movesets out here just to give you a good idea. In my opinion, you should run Rock Slide Earth Power. With Mudshot, you get to Rock Slides incredibly quickly, and Earth Power does a lot of nuke damage because you have Stab. Same type attack bonus. So, because of that, definitely use Rock Slide Earth Power. I don't recommend you use any other moveset. I'm only doing this for science, but in general, like, Rock Slide will cover Dragonite, and Earth Power will cover Dialga. So there's no real need for you to be super fancy. So as you see, I have all 4 forms here. This is Master League Classic. I'm not putting any level 50s in here, just because the only 50 that you would probably, like, be really threatened against is probably going to be Machamp and Gyarados, which I'll add anyways, just so that you can see the difference. But there's no real, you won't really see them that much, and if you do see them, most of the times you can take them out just because you have Rock Slide. I'm not sure about Gyarados, though. The Aqua Tail might threaten you a little bit, but because you get to your Rock Slides quicker, I'm not sure. We'll find out anyways. As you see here, I got the 2 shields. We're going to hit battle, and here we go. So, as you see here, against fighting types, you do really well just because you're of course, a flying type. So, even though this thing's on 4 legs, and it's a ground type, it's on a cloud, so I'm guessing it floats on a cloud. Anyways, you beat Conkeldurr, so you're going to beat fighters pretty handily. You also beat Dialga into 2 shield. This is a huge one, because obviously we all know that the big steel dragon's annoying as hell, and it really pisses everyone off. However, I don't know if this is assuming it's not best buddied. If it's best buddied, I'm pretty sure you lose because of that extra Dragon Breath bulk point. Yeah, Dialga wins. So, yeah, it wins pretty handily. So, don't count on the 2 shield. If it's a best buddy Dialga, Hundo best buddy Dialga, it will kill you just because of the bulk point, the break point it gets with Dragon Breath, which is obscenely overpowered. But you know. You lose the 2 shield against Dragonite just because Dragon Breath is super oppressive. So I think because Landorus, especially it's not a huge point in defense, but it's not bulky, so you're gonna take a lot of damage. So high damage moves like Dragon Breath and Charm can take you out. You'll get taken out by you can beat Garchomp with Earthquake, but you're gonna lose against Sandtomb if you don't call the Sandtombs. For Garchomp, like I mentioned, if you can't call the Sandtombs because Sandtomb will break both of your shields, but if you can call the Sandtombs, block the Outrages, you should be able to win that matchup or take that matchup, which is the case over here with the Outrage Earthquake. So, against Giratina Origins, you can win if you have... This is probably the only matchup where Earth Power where you won't really want Earth Power, but... Honestly, Earth Power and Rock Slide have so much coverage. To cover Giratina Origins with Outrage is kind of meh. Because if you land the Outrage on Gira O, you're going to take it out. So here's the thing. If you land Outrage, it's 173. So for that plus the Mudshot damage, you'll definitely KO it if you can get it through. That's it if. If you don't get it, you're dead. So Giratina Origins is a bait-dependent matchup. The good thing is you beat Groudon because you resist ground typings. You beat Heatran, of course, because it's double weaken round. You're going to beat Ho-Oh because you have Rock Slide. As you see here, if you don't have Rock Slide, you won't be able to take out Ho-Oh. Kyogre ends your life. Lugia does float over you because you hit it with Mud Shots. And as I mentioned, with Machamp, you'll be able to hit Machamp. You'll be able to beat Machamp pretty handily. You beat Mamoswine. You also beat you lose against Mamoswine. However, you handily beat Melmetal and Metagross, as you see here with Earth Power. As long as you have Earth Power. Again, you're gonna lose against Mamoswine. You're also gonna lose against Mewtwo. Mewtwo's heavy pressure with Side Strike, and because you're not the squishy, you're not the like bulkiest thing around. It's just Side Strike does so much damage, and it. Even though it won't outpace you, it wins CMP. So Mewtwo is not only going to win CMP, it's going to end your life. So that's why Landorus is mostly preferred in a closer, because there's a lot of things in a lead that can take you out. I mean, there's a lot of things in a lead you can take out too, but like the patterns you're going to take out, it's like there's better suited mons out there for the lead and the switch. That's why the lead and switch and the 2 shield is Landorus' weak position. You don't use it as a safe switch. You can beat Snorlax. You can also beat Swampert. However, that's if you have Outrage. So I wouldn't depend on the Swampert matchup. Hydro Cannon gets there really quickly, and it's going to probably kill you 9 times out of 10. So just assume you're going to lose against Swampert. Yes, it says it wins here, but that's assuming if they call the Rock Slides, which most players, if they're really good players, they're going to tell you're running Rock Slide, and they don't shield the first one, they're probably going to tell you're running Rock Slide, and then they're probably going to stop. Unless you get an Earthquake, you get a Earth Power through, but even then, even if you do get an Earth Power through, Hydro Cannon still chunks, so I wouldn't recommend you staying on Swampert. You're going to die against Togekiss. As I mentioned before, Charm does a lot of damage, and you're not super bulky. And level 50 Gyarados can actually take you out because of the Dragon Breath damage. So most Dragon Breath, basically in the 2 shield Dragon Breath users will take you out if they have shields. And you still beat Machamp level 50, which is good. Now we move on to 1 shield. As you see, the 2 shield, again, it's not great. As a lead in a switch, it's great. In the 1 shield, it gets a little better because in the 1 shield, as you see, you convincingly beat Dialga this time. You don't have to worry about the bulk point because all you have to do is you could probably straight Earthquake if you want to because that rating, or Earth Power. You could beat Dragonite. I'm assuming you just straight Rock Slide it to death. Well, let's see. Can you Rock Slide it to death? Let's see, Rock Slide. Okay, never mind, you can't Rock Slide it to death. So the only you win with the Outrage version because you're able to hit it with... So in the 1 shield, this is where it gets a little better, I suppose, having Outrage, because Landorus, Therian Landorus can actually take out Dragonite, Garchomp, Giratina Altered in the 1 shield. That's if you can bait. If. That's a big if. So it turns all the dragon-based matchups in the 1 shield to a bait-dependent matchup. Still wouldn't recommend you use it, but if you're in that scenario and you like Outrage, then it's up to you. You're going to lose against Ho convincingly in the 1 shield, assuming this is a close matchup though. This rating isn't bad, so if you have chip damage on Ho, you could take it out. You beat Groudon, you still beat Heatran, you still beat Machamp. Of course, you're going to lose against Kyogre because of water. Lugia because it resists your ground attacks. Even if you do have Rock Slide, the thing about Lugia is so bulky that's it's gonna take like literally 4 or 5 Rock Slides before you actually kill it. Mamoswine kills you because of ice. You beat Melmetal and Metagross because they are steel types. You're still going to lose against Mewtwo, unfortunately, because it's when it wins CMP and it's going to kill you really fast with Ice Strike. In the 1 shield, you're convincingly lose against Swampert unless you have Focus Blast, but again, that's like Swampert is a bait-dependent matchup in the 2 and the 1 shield, so don't bank on it. You're still going to lose against Togekiss, you're still going to lose against Gyarados, most Dragon Breath users out there, except for Zekrom, just because Zekrom is... The reason why you beat Zekrom is because you have Earth Power. So, yeah, because and it doesn't have a charge move to kill you. And that's basically it. You're super effective against it, you resist what it throws at you for the most part. Because you'll resist Wild Charge, it has to crunch you down. So, yeah. But, as you see here, it still the 1 shield turns into a dragon matchup, or the 1 shield is bait dependent. As you see here, if you want to, it's still not worth it. Still not worth it. Unless you go to the zeros, and it gets a little interesting. So if you're in the zeros, which is Landorus' best position because it outpaces a lot of the meta, and a lot of its nuke moves do super effective damage. As you see here, you beat Conkeldurr, you will absolutely annihilate Dialga, so all steel types will die. Dragonite goes down, Garchomp goes down in the zeros. Giratina Altered is obscenely thick, so because of that, it will live, but you can still beat the O version if you have Outrage. This is where there's an argument to where you can use Outrage. However, it really just depends on the patterns you see. Without Earth Power, you die to Melmetal, as you see here. Actually, you still... Okay, I lied. Never mind. You still beat Melmetal, so... Maybe Outrage isn't so bad. bad. Interesting. How do you beat it? Do you outrage? Do you literally hit it with outrage, or you do straight rock slide? Oh no, you literally you literally you will double outrage because it has to rock slide you. Oh, wow, that's funny. That's right. Rock does neutral damage against you because you're ground and flying, so you're not weak to rocks. Or you're not weak to walk types, so that's why you win. But as you see here, there is an argument to use outrage. So you in the closer, definitely very powerful. You're still gonna lose against Kyogre. Ho-Oh will again, if you have chip on Ho, you could probably beat it, but the Burb is too strong. Burb is strong. Mamoswine and Kyogre will still end your life. You can beat Melmetal, you can beat Metagross. Mewtwo will still end your life. Well, yeah, Mewtwo's still gonna... I don't know why it says Ice Beam. I wouldn't run... Well, regardless, even if you don't have Ice Beam, here's what happens. So even if it doesn't have Ice Beam, it's still gonna kill you just because it's gonna Side Strike you down. See, you give it Focus... Wait, not Ice Beam. Oh my gosh. Okay, just do this. No, not Flamethrower. Okay. See? Straight Side Strike. It'll kill you, Side Strike. One Side Strike will do 114 damage. So it outpaces you and outdamages you. Mewtwo's just that strong. Mewtwo still kills you. You'll beat a majority of the rest of it. You'll convincingly lose against Snorlax and Swampert, though, so be careful. The only reason you win with Focus Blast is because, guess what? Focus Blast nukes Snorlax in the closer. Not worth to give up one matchup for everything else. If you're going to use a secondary move, definitely use Outrage. As you see here in the closer, you're really freaking strong. You'll nuke and beat a lot of things. So Landorus definitely worth to leave in the back. Does it beat Groudon? I think, yeah, it does beat Groudon. It beats Groudon too. If you have shield advantage here, it does really well, I'm assuming, just because it's incredibly powerful in the closer. In the 1-0s, as you see, you beat a lot of things with the exception of Kyogre. You can even beat Lugia. You'll lose against... Well, this is a bait-dependent matchup. If this Garchomp, if you block the Outrage, you'll win it. So the Outrage Santoon version, you have... Yeah, the Outrage Santoon version, if you block the Outrage, you win. So just keep that in mind. That's the 1-0s, though. In the 2-0s, I'm pretty sure you beat everything except for Kyogre. Yeah, so in the 2-0s, you beat everything except for Kyogre, just because Kyogre's Waterfalls will do such heavy damage against you, and those Surfs chunk. So, well, just in general, like, it could probably Waterfall you down. That's how good Kyogre is. In the 2-1s, as you see here, 2-1s is basically like the 2-0s, except you have to be careful with the Garchomp matchup. At least if it has Santoon. Kyogre still kills you, Mamoswine will kill you, Mewtwo still kills you, and Togekiss can kill you. So in the 2-1s, you beat a majority of the meta, except the ones I mentioned above. Basically, if it outpaces you or you're weak against it, you're going to die. Unless it's Groudon, Garchomp, then you're going to have some play. But you'll still lose against Kyogre, you still lose against Mamoswine, as well as Mewtwo, just because it can straight Side Strike you down. Alright, so as far as bulk and breakpoints goes, there's not really any relevant bulk or breakpoints that matter. Like I said, when it comes to Master League Pokemon, the bulk and breakpoints won't really be super effective just because everything does so much damage. You're going at the maximum, this is assuming you have perfects for everything because you want to power up perfects. Even 98 and 96 won't make much of a difference unless it's 1 HP in a dream, which are matchups that you generally won't get into too much in Master League, just because, like I said, everything does so much damage. The only one you probably have to worry about as far as breakpoints go is definitely Dialga. As we sim before, if you go against Dialga, as you see, Therian Form wins against a level 41. Again, but if it is a best buddy, level 41 Dialga, here's what happens. You die. Very convincingly. Just because that breakpoint that Dialga gets with Dragon Breath is so oppressive, it lives with a healthy chunk of HP. You will never be able to get to your Earth Power. There's no way. You will die before you even get it off. That's just how powerful it is. So, that's the only one you really have to keep in mind. Other than that, Therian Landorus is I would say like an 8 out of 10. It's better than the Incarnate version as far as like a closer. However, it only specializes in the closer. That's the problem with Landorus. It only specializes in one position, and some of its matchups are really bait dependent, depending on which charge move you decide to run. However, it charges really fast, and because it has Earth Power, it does a lot of damage. It also beats Groudon. So it beats a lot of top meta Pokemon with the exception of Kyogre, and Giratina Origins. However, that's what it is. Like, the Therian Landorus is very powerful. It's able to take out the flyers, so if you get Gyarados or if you get Togekiss, it actually handily beats him. Groudon will lose against Togekiss. It also loses against Gyarados really hard because you don't have any rock coverage, which Landorus does. So that's Landorus' biggest strength. It covers things that Groudon doesn't cover, and it can deal an obscene amount of damage. Earth Power is also cheaper than Earthquake. So that's what it is. Like Landorus is very powerful. The Incarnate version would work as well. If you have a perfect Incarnate version, it does well too. Landorus with the Therian form, it just has more killing power. So it is better just because if 6 points of you only give up, it gets more powerful, only 6 points of defense. That's a lot of attack. So you definitely, like, Therian is definitely, if you want it and you want to use one, I definitely recommend you power this one up. If you want to use it, definitely power it up and leave it in the closer. Landorus would go well against pretty much anything, a strong core. You could put it with Gira O, and then you could put Gira O, you could put Dialga, you could put Gira O, Dialga in the back, and then you can put Therian Landorus. But anyway, it's probably going to be I would say it's going to be one of the most powerful closers in the game. Probably the most powerful, in my opinion, just because it gains that extra power. Hopefully this helps you decide whether or not you want to power yours up and use it for Master League. Don't use it for Ultra League. There's no point in using Therian for Ultra League just because Articuno and other ice types are a lot more prominent. You don't want to X-Obama weather balling your Landorus to death in Ultra League. Good luck in Go Battle League sets. If you guys like this video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next video.